Thank you so much for joining us on ADHD Wise podcast. If something in this episode has helped you, made you think, or given you language for something you've been living with, you can support the podcast by following or subscribing, leaving a review, or connecting with ADHD Wise on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Every share, review, comment, and follow helps the podcast reach more people and helps us create conversations and resources that support neurodivergent people, families, and professionals. Thank you. Your support really does mean the world.
Welcome to ADHD Wise podcast. I'm Janine Perryman, and this is a space for open conversations about ADHD and neurodiversity, bringing together lived experience, professional insights, and the questions that help us move forward. Wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to ADHD Wise podcast. My name is Janine, and today I am joined by Bobby, Fitness by Bobby, who I really want to find out more about and share with you because I've been following his work for a little while. It came across on my timeline and I was like, now there is somebody I want to know more about. There is somebody who is creating opportunities for other people based on what he's experienced within his own family. So hello Bobby, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good, very happy to be here.
Can you tell us what you do, first of all? And then I'm going to ask you why you do it, but if you want to answer that question at the same time, that's fine.
Okay, so 2 years ago, I started my own disability-focused fitness training business. And what I do is I train children and adults who might not feel comfortable going into a usual mainstream gym or sports club or something like that. So I train lots of different children and adults of all ages who might have disabilities, low confidence, who have got anxiety, things like that, where what might prevent them or act as a barrier in the way of them wanting to go take part in a normal gym. So that's why I've created my own gym, Fitness by Bobby, where anyone can feel comfortable going to. And yeah, I've just tried to create sort of like a home that anyone should feel welcome going to, and everyone can feel like they can be themselves in there, whether that's doing boxing, gym work, dancing, whatever that might be. And yeah, I started this because my younger brother's got disabilities, and growing up, it was hard for him to find a place where he would feel welcome, or he would feel like he could just go in there and there'd be no issues or no trouble. And also myself, growing up as a really shy and anxious child, to the point where I would never join in any group classes or anything like that. And it took me forever to be able to find a space where I'd feel comfortable in as well. I was so lucky that I found boxing towards the end of my childhood, because if I didn't, then I don't know where I'd be right now either. And from that experience of myself and experience of my brother growing up as well, that's motivated me and put me in a position where I've wanted to provide what I'm doing for other children who might be growing up like me and my brother. Because I feel like there's so many more children around the UK, just like my brother, who have got disabilities, or like me, who was so anxious. And there's so many around the UK, so many thousands and thousands. So if I could do my part to provide a place for them, or begin to, then that's what I'm grateful to do.
I think that's absolutely amazing. And that was the message I got from watching your stuff. And that was why I wanted to speak to you. Because I think that you actually have deliberately gone about becoming the adult you needed and your brother needed when you were younger.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like my brother, I remember watching my parents try and get my brother into so many different clubs. And there weren't many clubs providing a space for people with disabilities, or in general, just a place where someone with disabilities might feel comfortable, because a lot of children with disabilities do feel completely different, and that's not a lie. And stepping into a place where people don't accommodate for that or don't welcome that, it's a scary thing. And even myself, even though technically I'm not diagnosed with any disabilities, I didn't feel very comfortable going into a lot of places. I remember there's multiple clubs my parents tried to get me in before I started boxing, even a holiday camp in Spain. I remember one time they tried to get me into a football club the whole time, and I just stood there and cried all the time. And this was, and I don't know why. I think it's just because I was, because of anxiety, low confidence, things like that. But I'm just lucky that I found a nice boxing club as I was growing up, which completely transformed me. And that's what I needed growing up. And for example, the place I've created now is a place my brother needed growing up, which he's got now, and the place I needed growing up, a place that accepts everyone. And I feel it's so important because there's so many different children going through so many different battles, so many adults going through so many different battles. And I'm really trying to create that place where literally anyone can come to. Anyone can come to. And I feel that energy in my classes because there's such a wide range of characters, ages, personalities, everything, like different disabilities. And it just all comes together and no one feels like they're out of place there.
I've watched some of your videos, and there are just the sheer delight on the faces of children. Now, just for anybody who's listening for the first time, I'm an ex-special needs teacher, and I've also run an inclusive theatre school before. So this is why I respect so much what Bobby is doing. But there's this glee, this beautiful sort of like the giggle that isn't just coming out of their voices, it's coming out in their faces and their whole body when you are providing an opportunity and they are punching a bag that you're holding and you fall over with the weight of their punches, etc., and you just see the delight, you see the best of these children because of what you're creating for them. And for anybody who doesn't already follow Bobby, please follow Bobby. And if you are living anywhere near Rugby and you have children with needs, or anybody by the sound of things that might benefit from going to Fitness by Bobby, absolutely do nip along to Rugby and get yourself involved, because oh my goodness, it was just, I watched and I just thought, because do correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're only 21. Amazing what you're doing at the age of 21.
It is crazy. It's all happened so fast as well. So, like, I remember working on a building site, and this was just over 2 years ago. I'd finished college, I was boxing, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, to be honest. I was working on the building site with my dad, but me and my dad both knew this wasn't what I wanted to do. I knew something weren't right. I weren't motivated for it. It's just I knew it just weren't for me. My dad didn't like me working on the building site anyway. And I remember we had a holiday booked, and I went to Turkey. And just before I flew to Turkey, I recorded a video with my brother training in the garage. Like we just did like little bits of boxing anyway. But I decided to post it on Facebook. And what happened is I was getting loads of comments on the video of people asking me who we knew to train their siblings and their family members with disabilities. And I went on holiday and I quit the building site job on my last day of holiday. I quit the building site and I just got straight to it. And I said, I'm going to start training them. I didn't want to say yes straight away because it's something I was unfamiliar with. I've never done it before. The only experience I had was with my brother. So it just felt completely out of my comfort zone. But I got back, quit the building site. My dad was happy and I started doing it. Brought a bit of equipment from my garage in my parents' house and just built it up from there. Kind of just one thing to the next. And then 2 years later, it's all just happened so fast.
I think there is something here to be sort of said about being a young person who is, I suppose, impacted by the adversity that you experience for yourself, but mindful of the adversity you experience for your brother and just being, I'm just going to make it count.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like everyone goes through their own battles in their head, or whether that's physically on a day-to-day basis. And I feel like it don't get talked about enough at all. In young males, young females, whatever it might be, everyone goes through their own issues. And a lot of people are scared to talk about it online. I never started talking about it online straight away. But when you actually start to realize there ain't nothing embarrassing about going through anything, any sort of problems in your life, you put it out there and you realize it actually does help other people. Since I've started talking about my childhood anxiety, the amount of messages I get of people going through the same thing is crazy. The amount of messages I get on a daily basis that I've inspired some people in some sort of way. And I just think it makes it so worth it. It makes me get out of bed in the morning and generally look forward to do my job, like pumped up to do my job every day, because it don't feel like I'm working. It just feels like, how to explain it? I just feel like it's some sort of movement and it don't feel like a job. And that's why I love it so much.
You actually have a CIC, don't you? You're not a company, you have a CIC.
I'm just a sole trader. I'm not a community interest company. I just started my business. Yeah, I haven't applied for any grants for anything at the moment. Everything, all the money I've sort of built up has been either out of my own pocket from what I saved up, or when I've set up GoFundMe's and things like that on my TikTok profile, when the people who watch my videos wanted to donate towards getting me some more equipment for my sensory class or something like that.
I'm going to ask everybody who's listening if you can spare something for what Bob's doing. I think it'd be amazing. So you've got a GoFundMe page that people can donate to.
Got a GoFundMe in my bio of my social medias, because everything I have brought or paid for is completely out of what I've earned so far already. It's all out of what we've earned, and the GoFundMe does help because it's brought me a lot of my sensory equipment, a lot of the equipment the kids use, and it makes the classes a bit better. It goes a long way.
Good stuff. Okay, so we'll make sure that we share that when we're sharing the shorts and also the actual podcast. Make sure that that is on there, because any parent who is listening to this who's got a child who is highly anxious, or is the sibling of a child who's got additional needs, what a story in terms of recognizing what actually can come from it. And Bobby is obviously giving a lot of himself to the cause of actually recognizing that everybody deserves to thrive, and actually making that a reality for people in his community. And I just think that is outstanding. Okay, so Bobby, talk me through what your childhood was like as an anxious young person.
So all I remember as a young child, and my parents will tell me this a lot, but I never really thought about it too much until when I started this job, because I just thought, I didn't really think into it too much. But I was a very, very shy kid, to the point where I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wouldn't join in any group classes, and my parents are always trying to take me to group classes and get me involved with other children, but I was just generally too anxious. Like, I would always cry to go to school. Going to school was a really big issue for me. Like, after summer holidays, I'd cry for days and days before, because I just generally didn't want to go. And it was a problem that happened throughout the whole childhood. I was just so kept to myself. I was nervous all the time and things like that. And it was only when I started kickboxing, I can't remember what age it was, and that was the start of growing me, to the point where I was growing confidence in myself, and then I switched over to boxing, and that's when it really took off for me. I grew that confidence in myself that I could actually do something. I met friends, I interacted with other children, and it gave me a purpose, in a way, I'd say. As the years went on with my boxing, I went to a high level of boxing, I went to a high level of kickboxing, and that's where it just shot off in my confidence. Like, I was doing assemblies at school, things I never ever dream of doing. And I feel like that's why I think sport, exercise, fitness is just so important, because I generally do think if it weren't for boxing or kickboxing, I generally don't know where I'd be, because I would definitely not be doing this, but I wouldn't have any sort of confidence like I have now. And it is something I do think about a lot, and it just shows how important it is, because it's completely changed me. And even my brother Shay, like, he was always confident and he was always like talking and stuff, but since he's been joining in with group classes, helping me out in my group classes, doing the boxing sessions, his confidence has shot through the roof as well, because I guess it's a sense of belonging in a place, and he turns up there like he works there and he belongs there, and that's what everyone needs, I think.
Well, he does work there, doesn't he? He is part of the team. And actually, there'll probably be many times in his life where he's asked, "Oh, what do you do?" And he'll be like, "I work at Fitness by Bobby." And that will be accurate in its way.
No, he tells all his friends at school all the time. He hands out my leaflets at school and everything. And that's what I mean. That's why it's so important, because he's proud of himself for that. And that's what I mean, sense of achievement, sense of belonging. And if that can make him feel proud, then that means it's worth everything.
Okay, I completely understand and respect that. I took a different sort of like route to you, and I didn't sort of really start doing things for my community until I was a bit older. But I ran an inclusive theatre school. Every single child who turned up had something to bring to things. And I think back to some of the positive impact that it had. And I remember a parent saying to me, my child would not have had the confidence to have spoken in front of anybody before. And then she gave a speech at my wedding day. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if just by being me, just by opening a class and being accepting of everybody meant that this young person was then able to have the confidence to stand in front of a group of people they wouldn't have done otherwise, that's kind of like, I'm happy. Like, for the rest of my life, I will feel like I've got a bit of a legacy. And to think that you're 21, nearly 22, and you're opening doors for people younger and who are struggling more than you're struggling, I think that is a huge deal. Are you able to tell us a bit more about Shay and Shay's journey?
Shay, like towards the start of his life, was told he couldn't do a lot. Like he wasn't going to be able to do a lot of things. He had a lot of things put against him, and throughout Shay's whole life, he's gone above everything. I'm pretty sure my parents will know a lot more about this, but I'm pretty sure they told Shay he wouldn't be able to talk, and he talks. He plays for a football team. He's played for a rugby team, and he's always been very outgoing and things like that. He's always had the confidence. But there's a difference in having confidence in like talking to people and that, and having a confidence in himself and the proudness of himself, having a sense of belonging. And that's what he's only just, I feel like, developed in the last year or two. And he's overtook everything everyone's ever said he'd be able to do. And now adding that to the Fitness by Bobby and working with me and coming up to the gym every day after school, yeah, it's really nice to see. And it makes me proud as well that I'm able to provide that for him as well, because I always said to Shay growing up, we said it as a joke, but I was like, yeah, you can just come and work with me, not knowing what I'll be doing when I'm older, because I could be on the building site, but I always said it, and it turns out it's true. And yeah, he does work with me, and that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of our life. So it's a proud moment, but the way I see it is I'm always looking ahead, and I think it's the very start for me and my brother, and it's only up from here.
Do you feel there is more going on for you or for your child, but you are unsure where to start? At ADHD Wise, our neurodiversity pathway offers a cross-neurotype assessment for adults, children and young people. Cross-neurotype means we look across a range of neurodevelopmental profiles and differences, including ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, language and communication, sensory processing, executive function and regulation. The pathway includes WiseClear, which helps collect detailed information from you about everyday experiences, strengths and challenges. It also includes CRAOS, which gives us an evidence base based on activities that you perform online that shows us things like attention, memory, reasoning and cognitive processing. We then build this together with a semi-structured interview so that we can triangulate the information and build a clearer picture of what may be going on for you. The aim is to help you know where you are, what might be contributing to the challenges that you or your child are having, and deciding on next steps, whether that be a diagnostic, support in school or in work, coaching, adjustments, or simply better understanding yourself or your child. The neurodiversity pathway is about clarity, direction, and helping people be better understood. You can find out more at adhdwise.uk and look for the neurodiversity pathway. What does the future hold for Fitness by Bobby and your relationship with your brother and everything that you're doing?
A lot of people sometimes ask me, like, what's my end goal of all of this? And if, to be honest, my end goal is to make as big of an impact as I can possibly do. I've been doing this for 2 years now, and obviously everything's happened so fast. It's been one thing after another, and I'm so grateful for that. Would have never ever thought all of this would happen, and how much has happened. I just wouldn't think it's possible. And all I want to do is keep taking that to the next level. I want there to be a Fitness by Bobby everywhere in the country, because I'm only in one place right now and there's only one of me, but the amount of comments and messages I get on a weekly basis, it must be 100 a week, of people telling me, oh, I wish I lived closer to you. I live in London, I live in Newcastle. And it just frustrates me so much, because like I said earlier, there's so many people like me and my brother, there's so many people like the children I already teach around the whole of the UK. So that frustrates me a lot, and that just tells me that I need to expand, and that is going to be the end goal. Being everywhere around the country, whether you're north, south, anywhere, everywhere, everyone's got a Fitness by Bobby to go to, and it's going to be a lot of work. But I think, like I said earlier, anything's possible, and I'll make it happen because I know I'm driven, and Shay's going to be a part of that. And yeah, I think the possibilities are endless. I generally think it's endless. I think I've never been so motivated and determined to do something in my life. Every minute of my week I put to this. I'm either making TikToks, I'm messaging new people to help more people, and it's my whole life, and it is my whole life, and it's a family business, so we're all driven to do it. My mum helps me out, my auntie helps me out, my nan helps me out, my brother's at all the classes, and yeah, I don't know where it's gonna go, but I'm just so excited for it.
Can you tell us what it was that boxing does? What is it about boxing that grabbed you and changed your trajectory?
So, as a kid, obviously, I've said it, but I was so shy and anxious. And I went to boxing, and I think it's just because my friend started doing it, so I went with him. Um, well, it was actually originally kickboxing that I went to, and I only went to it with my mate because I thought it was wrestling that I watched on the TV, and I thought I was going to be like all these wrestlers on the TV because I was only young, and that's the only reason I went. And I was actually very close to quitting a few weeks in, because obviously I didn't like it. I was out of my comfort zone, and it was my parents that made me stay, and I was begging them to make me go, make me leave, but they wanted me to stay. I'm so glad they kept me there. Like, I'm so glad they kept me there. And I switched to boxing because I went to the World Championships in kickboxing. I got my black belt in kickboxing, and I thought the next step up was boxing because I could see a big career in boxing. I guess the dedication and the hard work and the constant being out my comfort zone, the big fights, the training camps, everything that boxing did for me, it gave me a sense of purpose, and it made me feel like, yeah, I'm the boxer. I remember going to school all the time, having assemblies about me. I really thought like I was proud of myself, and it made me proud of myself, something I've never really felt before. And that's what transitioned me as a person because, like I said, it's a sense of purpose and it's a sense of belonging. Um, and that's why I wanted to turn that into my boxing. If boxing helped me and fitness helped me, then it can help so many other children. And I feel like boxing, it's good for your self-defense. It's good to learn. I think it's very good to learn for any child or adult. It's good fitness, it's good strength, and like, yeah, it gives you that confidence. Like when I'm teaching the children in my gym, it's not about being the best boxer. I don't, like I'm not telling them fight tactics and things like that. It's just the confidence building of it, and it transitioned me as a person, and that's why I wanna give that to other children and adults.
I just think that's an amazing story. Okay, so we talked briefly about your North Star. What is it that you would want people to hear from you right now?
I personally feel like everyone in the world has either been told they can't do something or they feel themselves that they can't do something. And I feel like everyone in the world has got something to say about each other, and everyone's going to say that you can't do something, and you're going to tell yourself a lot throughout your life that you can't do something. You're going to have doubt. You're gonna think, oh, I'm not good enough for that. I think you got one time in this life, and I think you can do anything you want to in this world. Absolutely anything. My clients in my gym, the children and adults I teach, me, my brother's proved it his whole life. And I feel like you generally can do anything. And I think don't listen to what people have got to say. Don't listen to what your brain's got to tell you when it's telling you you can't do something, because just do it, and you'll really realize you're capable of way more than you've ever thought. And I think, yeah, if that's the one message, go for it, because yeah, just go for it.
Believe in yourself and go for it. When I was doing my master's I was doing my master's and I could perform, but what I couldn't do was present. And so I threw myself in, and I went and volunteered delivering assemblies in schools for kids who were preparing for their work experience. And that was the way I kind of like dealt with the fact that I had so much performance anxiety, if you like, where I just couldn't do a particular thing, and I kind of had to grab hold of it and do something with it because I just wasn't prepared to let it stop me from achieving something that I wanted to achieve and being the full person that I wanted to be. And I've only ever won one award in my life, and it was an Investors in People award for my assembly speaking. And I think that there is something here about anxiety. There is something that you're saying here that we've kind of like not quite managed to unpick here about almost making friends with your anxiety, recognizing what it's trying to tell you, and then deciding that you're going to not let it be the master of you.
100%. It's something I never really talked about growing up my whole life because I just thought I was a bit shy or whatever. Coming as I've been getting a bit older, like I realised like I did have anxiety, or I do still have anxiety, and I think it's something I've started to talk about in my videos because I never talked about it, and I think there's thousands of people around the UK that won't say anything about it because they feel ashamed, they feel embarrassed to mention it, or they feel like people are going to make fun of them. And I feel like if I'm someone online who can put it out there that, you know, I do have anxiety, like, so what? Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got their own issues, everyone's got their own problems. So what? And I'm dealing with it, and I'm doing more than I ever thought I would do with it because it ain't stopping me. You know, I've achieved way more than I ever thought I would ever. And like with anxiety or not, and I think it links to disabilities. There's so many children I know with disabilities that are achieving so much, and I think everyone's got barriers put against them. Everyone deals with their own problems, but we don't want to let that stop us, and that's what I'm trying to do. We never want to let that stop us. Like I remember being on a radio about a year ago, and I had a panic attack just before the radio because I build up all this pressure on myself. I did the radio, no one ever noticed, but I was like really beating myself up after it. But then I went on the radio a month later, and I was like nervous because I had a panic attack on my last radio thing. So I was like, oh, don't let it happen again. But I threw myself out there and I did it. And I was proud of myself for doing it because I'm never going to let something stop me. I'm going to deal with it in a moment. I'm going to talk about it after. I went on a video after and said, yeah, I had a panic attack on this radio shoot, and I talked about it, and I got a lot of messages after of people saying like, look, I've got anxiety, I get panic attacks, what do I do? And I feel like when you've got someone online who opens up about it, because not a lot of people do, and I think there's a lot of fake stuff, and there's a lot of trying to put on a front on social media. And I feel like when you just put the real stuff on social media, and that's the stuff people can relate to, you know, there's fancy cars, fancy watches, all these cool holidays on social media that, you know, people can't relate to. If I put on there that, you know, I'm doing this cool thing, but you know, I had a panic attack doing it, that's real. That's generally real because that's what people go through on a daily basis, and that's what can help people.
That's an amazing, again, another amazing message. I can't believe I'm repeating myself, but I think it is an amazing message. Okay, so Bobby, if you could go back and tell your younger self something that you think would help yourself, what would it be?
Do you know what it is? And it's the same message I said earlier, because it's quite a good question and I'm not 100% sure. I'd really have to think about it. But the first thing that comes to my mind is go for it. I feel like and I know it's the same message as I said earlier, but every good thing that's happened in my life, I've been nervous for, or I've been scared to do it. Every single thing. But in that moment, because of good parenting, my parents pushing me a bit, and me just having that bit of bottle just to go for it, it's happened, and I've been so proud of myself afterwards. But it doesn't stop. For example, I would win a boxing fight. I've had 45 fights. I'd have won my 40th fight, and on my 41st fight, I'd be terrified to fight again. Like I would like generally be so nervous to go again. But I would just go for it, and that happens again. These good things happen when you just go for it. And you're always going to have doubts, and external voices are going to make you feel like you can't do it as well. But that is my one bit of advice I'd say I'd give myself. I just think go for it. Like when it's scary to jump, that's when you jump. I generally do feel like that's true.
Because in our nervous system, excitement and anxiety are experienced the same way. Are you able to separate out what is excitement and what is anxiety, or is it just, do it feel like one thing to you?
Do you know what? I generally do feel like, for me personally, growing up as well, it's always felt like one thing. I feel like before a fight, I'm excited, but I'm also incredibly nervous, and I'm just feeling all these emotions at once to the point where I'm getting sweaty hands and everything. This happens all the time. I think it's just an anxiety trait, but I've learned how to deal with that over time. I've learned how to use that to my own advantage. I've learned how to switch off. For example, towards the end of my boxing career, I'd fall to sleep until about half an hour before a fight, because that would switch off my brain. There's ways you go around it, and I'm not gonna never, and I've never ever, never, I've always tried to not let it hold me back, because if my brother his whole life can do everything he's done while being told he couldn't, then I've got to give it a good shot myself as well, and so yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, one more question. If you had a message for parents of children like yourself and children like your brother, what would it be?
Getting your child into something they enjoy, and it doesn't have to be fitness or boxing, even though I feel like fitness and boxing is very important. I feel like getting your child doing an activity outside of school, whether that's an arts and crafts club, football, boxing, theatre, dancing, whatever that might be, giving them that sense of purpose and that confidence, I think can change their life. Because all I can really go off is the experiences I know of my clients, myself, and things like that. And I just know if I didn't have that, I don't know where I'd be now. I really don't. And yeah, I think it's so important. If you've got a child and they've got low confidence or they've got anxiety, and they go to a dance class and they generally feel like at that dance class they're on top of the world, and they leave that dance class feeling like they're the man, then that is so important, whether that's for an hour a week or 10 minutes a day. That is so important. And yeah, that's my advice. That is my advice. I think it can change a life.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo that, because I grew up believing I was stupid. I was told I was stupid. I was told I would never amount to anything. But the one thing I had was that I could sing and I could dance. And there was so much of my sense of self, my sense of self-worth, my sense of belonging that came from feeling like I had that. And I think you're saying something similar here.
Yeah, 100%. I just feel like you need one place to feel like you belong there, and that can really change your life. I generally do believe it. I didn't really think I had a place to belong until I went to the boxing gym, and that was my place. I went there every night after school. No matter how I felt throughout the day at school, feeling shy, when I came into that boxing gym, that was my place. And that's what changed my life. And I think that one little bit, that one little thing can go a long way.
Now, that's so interesting, because now we've gone round and we've talked about fitness, we've talked about all sorts of things and anxiety and all sorts of things. But actually what we've come back to is belonging, and our children feeling like they belong somewhere, that they are part of a community, that they have value. And you were talking about how Shay turns up to work with you like he's one of the team. And that is such a gift to be able to give to your sibling, that I'm telling you now, because I coach a lot of adults. So many adults I know don't have a sense of belonging. They try their best to mask and fit in, but that's not the same as belonging.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's like when my children or like my clients come, for example, in a one-to-one class or a group class, like I generally wholeheartedly believe they know they're not just coming here for a fitness class. Like I have chats with my clients, like they're my mates. We sit there for 10 minutes and we talk. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's that comfortable feeling that we've got that relationship together. We've got that love together, that, you know, you're not just turning up to work, or you're not just turning up to like a club where you just got to like work really hard and go home. Like it's more than that. It really is more than that. And it feels more than that for me when I go to work. Like I said, I don't feel like I'm going to work. I feel like I'm doing something, and I still don't know what the word is, but I don't feel like I'm going to work. And yeah, I just think it's so important.
Bobby, it sounds like you found your calling.
Yeah, 100%. I do feel like I have.
Your contribution to the world, this is your calling.
Yeah, I feel like I've found my thing.
Good stuff. And you found it young as well.
Yeah, I am very grateful to have found it at this age, and I am 100% so grateful that this has all happened. And like I said, I generally do believe it's only the start, and there's so much more to come.
And I agree with you. And as an older person, I just want to say to you, you're going to find more callings along the way. This isn't going to be the only thing that you do. Your world is going to open up, and there's going to be all sorts of other opportunities for yourself and for Shay. I just want to sort of like put a message out there to everybody that, look, this is what thriving looks like. This is what grabbing hold of things, taking a deep breath and taking a dive into things. This is what happens when you believe in your children, when you stay ambitious for your children. Shay and Bobby, that whole thing around being told you can't, but still managing to go on and do. And I mean, as much as I'm older, I had a similar story. At the end of the day, we all need people who believe in us, and we all need environments where we feel like we belong. Bobby, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so grateful for the time that you've given me. And if there's anything I can do in the future to help you on this journey, please count me in, because I think it's really, really important. And I hope everyone is inspired and goes, right, okay, and just believes in their children just that 1 ounce more right now. And we'll push them just that 1 ounce more to go and take a risk on that club or that activity, and not get too caught up in thinking, well, that's another lot of kit I've got to buy, etc. Because I know that's part of the family dynamic, because I know I've been there with my own children. Bobby, thank you so much for your time today. Don't ring off, because I need to upload your recording before we disappear. But Bobby, thank you so much for being here today. And I don't think this is the last that we'll hear of you. And I will watch you avidly, and I'm so excited for what you're going to bring to the world next. And I can't wait to meet yourself and Shay in person at some point. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed just giving out that message as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to ADHD Wise podcast. ADHD Wise exists to help bridge understanding and support for people exploring ADHD and broader neurodiversity. If you would like to know more about us and our services, please visit www.adhdwise.uk. Follow ADHD Wise UK on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and LinkedIn. Take care, and we'll see you next time.